Okay, so it's Christmas weekend literally right now. Rogue One came out a week before Christmas, so I saw it last week and then I went early this morning again to see it a second time because I got a million things to do. Get ready for Christmas, visit relatives, clean the house, get some more stuff done. I'm always cleaning the house. So I went early this morning, like early, to go see Rogue One a second time, like early as All right, so here we go. So I saw Rogue One a second time, and my first review, I was kind of trying not to say too many spoilers, even though it was a spoiler cast. But I think this time I'm going to really talk about what I really wanted to talk about during the previous review was the ending, how everybody dies. People know now, spoiler, everybody dies on Scarif. And the whole end sequence and the music, I wanted to talk about this, how in J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, the very beginning scene with George Kirk, how he sacrificed himself to save his crew. And basically the sound was turned off and only the music, the audio from the characters was turned off. And only the music was playing during that whole, it was like a ballet sequence almost. So they did the same thing with Rogue One at the very end. When Jyn Erso and Cassian Andor, they're killing themselves going up the tower. They finally uploaded the Death Star data. They sacrificed themselves and they went down and they went to the beach and they stared at their demise basically coming at them from the seashore, right? And at the same time, you have the crew of the Hammerhead up in the space above, ramming into the disabled Star Destroyer and ramming that into another Star Destroyer. And on the second viewing, I realized they took the freaking bridge off the top of that second Star Destroyer. I mean, just sheared it. That was amazing. And then, so you wonder how many hundreds, if not thousands of people died just in that one crash of two Star Destroyers and the Hammerhead, was it a Rebel cruiser, I guess? It's about sacrifice. And this whole movie is about that. And that's what I loved about Rogue One. The second time, some people are saying they didn't like it as much the second time. I liked it just as much, if not more, the second time. I got emotional again during those same parts. I got emotional when Jyn Erso watched her dad's hologram. And you realize she's acting in front of a camera lens. She was not acting against a person. I don't think so, right? So they filmed her just breaking down while she's watching her dad give the hologram instructions to Saw Gerrera. Not knowing, now keep in mind, I'm spitting all over the place. Keep in mind, her dad was leaving instructions for Saw Gerrera, not knowing that his own daughter is going to view that hologram recording. So fascinating stuff, fascinating. And what else? And I'm one with the Force. The Force is with me. Keep in mind that there's Chirrut Imwe and Baze. I think his name is Baze Malbus. Baze was sort of an unbeliever, and he was always making fun of Chirrut, Donnie Yen's character. So when Chirrut died, it's almost as if Baze took over with the phrase, the Force is with me, I am one with the Force is with me. And it reminded me a lot of the Return of the Jedi, the Ewok scene. Remember on Endor, where the Ewoks were running, there's a big explosion, and then the two Ewoks, both of them fell because of the explosion, and then one got up, and then he went back to the other one, and it started shaking him, and that Ewok stayed with his Ewok friend. It reminded me of that. It's sort of, I don't know if Gareth Edwards, the director, did that as a callback to that, but that was cool. And it's also very much of a staple in war movies. Now, speaking of war movies, man, I gotta buzz right through this. It's like I don't have time, and I got like usually like 20 minutes of DSLR recording because I still have yet to figure out how to extend that 20 minutes. But I think you'd get bored anyway if I went more than 20 minutes. So speaking of war movies, I just put a meme out regarding the I am one with the Force is with me, and how Chirrut Imwe walked through the gauntlet, the barrage of laser fire to reach the controls, and that totally reminded me of A Bridge Too Far, another war movie way back in the 70s, and Robert Redford. It was sort of a underdog again, the underdog team. They were in rowboats, and they didn't even have paddles, so they used their rifles to paddle themselves across this river, a bridge too far, right? And during the whole time, they were getting peppered with enemy fire. And the whole time is Robert Redford he's just rowing, and he's just, Hail Mary, full of grace, Hail Mary, full of grace, Hail Mary, full of grace. That's all he was doing. And the Chirrut Imwe scene totally reminded me of that. I am one of the Force is with me. Hail Mary, full of grace, Hail Mary, full of grace. So I made a meme on that. It's on the internet right now. It's on Facebook. I think I put it on Instagram also. So that's another one. If you like, I think people who don't like war movies, I guess that's what I would say. If people who don't like war movies are probably not gonna appreciate Rogue One as much as those who do like war movies, because the pacing of this movie is like a war movie. The first half is a whole bunch of strategy, planning, reconnaissance, sort of secret stuff, planning for the big, the D-Day invasion. And basically the invasion on Scarif is sort of like a Force 10 from Navarone. One of those where you take a small team and you put them to infiltrate a much bigger thing, and then their support crew follows them there. So that's basically Rogue One is, Rogue One is a war movie. So, all right, I'm gonna go through my list as I wrote this list as soon after as I left the movie. Okay, rebellions are built on hope. That quote is not from Jyn Erso originally. If you go back earlier in the movie, Cassian Andor actually said that to Jyn Erso, and I didn't catch it the first time. So when Jyn Erso says that in the Rebel base, she actually is repeating what Cassian just told her a few hours back, a few days back. So I thought that was cool. Rebellions are built on hope. And the cool thing too is, like, people are saying, the rebels aren't supposed to shoot their own. Like Cassian he shot his own guy because the guy couldn't climb. And keep in mind, it's a cliche term, but they are a ragtag team. They are a misfits. They are a bunch of outliers, fringe dwellers, miscreants, whatever word it is. And they joined the rebellion because they didn't belong anywhere else, it seems. Especially, and I love this scene, this one got my heart swelling a little bit. Halfway through the movie, when Jyn Erso tried to convince Mon Mothma and the rebel leaders that they need to attack Scarif, the tropical island. And the rebel leaders turned it down. So they what else to do? So they were going to hijack the ship, the confiscated Imperial ship, and then they were just going to go with a small crew, right? The Dirty Dozen. And lo and behold, she turns around, and then there's this bigger group of outcasts and also, I guess, rebel soldiers who they said, we have nothing to lose. Like, we had no lives before this rebellion, whatever it's called. So we might as well join you. We have nothing to lose. And I love the quotes in there. What is it? A soldier with a stick and nothing to lose is the most dangerous. Oh man, there's so many. I gotta watch it again the third time. I don't know if I'll see it in the theater, but I will totally watch this over and over again at home, for the same reason that I watch. Keep this in mind if you haven't seen HBO's Band of Brothers. It's a miniseries. It's produced by Tom Hanks. It's about World War II. Fascinating. It's probably easily the best TV series, one of the best movies about World War II and war that I've ever seen. So it's like 13 hours, 14 hours, something like that, 13 episodes. But it's I lost my thought. So it's the putting together of this crew and getting ready for this fight and the whole grittiness of it. What else? All right, I'm just going to go through my notes. What's funny is that what really took me out of the movie is the very, 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 very final scene of the movie. Princess Leia's big face. I was hoping, it'd be nice if they had just had her sort of in the half shadows or a side view. Remember the end of Revenge of the Sith? You showed Darth Vader with the Emperor profile view looking out at the Death Star 1 that was being constructed. That kind of profile view of Leia, maybe she was on the bridge of the Tantive 4, and she's looking out forward, and then they told her the news about the Death Star plans being on her ship. If only they showed her more from the side or a 3/4 angle and has a little smile on her face, she still knows that she has a big mission to do. Instead of this, she looks like a little cappy kid that just, she just blew out her birthday candles. That's not war, man. She just escaped barely with their lives off the Tantive 4. And, she's like, it's hope. No, just keep it more somber. But I think the audience would have reacted more to it. I heard a guy out in the front, laugh when she said that. I heard that. And I'm going, oh, man. And then the final scene of the movie, too. So, by the way, God bless Carrie Fisher. We just heard on the news today she had a massive heart attack on a plane coming to LA from London, and she's in a LA hospital, Los Angeles hospital, and hopefully she's gonna be back to normal. And what I'm really hoping is it's always, I know a little bit about medical stuff. Some of my clients are medical people, and the blood flowing through the brain to the brain. So if her heart attack, hopefully it didn't affect her brain, and if not, then she should be okay. So cross fingers, the force is with her. Hopefully, prayers. Okay. So back to this. Opening credits. I wrote it. Opening credits could have been refined, maybe with a preface. Just a simple text, 1 or 2 paragraphs. Think of Schindler's List or any of these other war movies. Talk about it too. The latest movie Fury with Brad Pitt. They had a little bit of a preface, a couple of paragraphs at the beginning. That would have been nice, I think. And then have the Rogue One. I like the way they did the Rogue One. It looked kind of cheesy, kind of pixelated almost. But let's see what happens next time. The editing in this movie, the second time, you can tell about the reshoots, and it's a little bit disjointed, but I think, I'd say, unless they pulled off a miracle, this was the best movie that we would have gotten. I think if they had another 6 months to edit more, refine it more, if who is it, Giacchino, the music composer, had another 3 months to compose more music, more refined music, I think it would have been a better movie. But it's a job to do. They had a deadline. They had to get it out before Christmas. And the movie that we got is, again, a little miracle. Anytime a movie gets made with this many elements, it's a little miracle. Like what J.J. Abrams did with The Force Awakens, like it or love it, like it or hate it, he pulled off a miracle with that movie. So, okay, back to my notes. Let me see. Oh, the shield gate and the whole signal thing. You got to watch it a second time, because the whole sending a signal up to the shield gate is blocking the signal for the Death Star plans to be transmitted to the rebel ships. But Bodhi, the pilot, getting that cable and plugging it into the ship was so that he can communicate with the rebel ships. It's not to send the Death Star plans. I think not. So maybe I need to see it a third time. So people are saying like they're doing two things to accomplish the same thing, but not really. It's war. Keep in mind, this is freaking war. I mean, it's fictional war, but it's in war. War is chaos, and it was totally, half of it was unplanned, and the rebels were kind of confused and lost. Now, keep in mind, this was the definitive battle that gave the rebels hope again, that led to Episode 4, A New Hope. So, of course, it's going to be a mess. The rebels are a mess. And they finally got their first big battle. This was, I guess, what would it be? I guess like Normandy? No, Battle of Midway in the Pacific Theater in World War II. See, I know a little bit about war stuff. But supposedly Midway just totaled so many of the Japanese ships and planes that the Japanese never recovered from the Battle of Midway, but that was early on in World War II. I think it's 1942, and the war lasted until 1945. So you get that definitive war where the tide gets turned, or one side finally gets sort of a direction on what they're going to do, and then there's that momentum. So because of Rogue One, the momentum did not start with A New Hope. The momentum started with Rogue One. So that's it's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it. And it puts more context about how this little band of rebels are able to take over, to blow up the Death Star. It was almost like too much of a miraculous thing in A New Hope. So now we get this context. We get a setup for it. And it makes more sense. So, okay. Shield Gate, I'm going to just keep going. Hail Mary, full of grace. I talked about that already. Go see it. A Bridge Too Far. Among other words, Band of Brothers, Battle of the Bulge, The Longest Day, A Bridge Too Far. Go see those four, and then go, if you're watching it on Netflix or something, look at the related movies. Go take a look at that too. The Longest Day is one of the epics. So, what else? The soundtrack, the more I watch this movie, the more I like the soundtrack. And you can tell that Giacchino didn't have enough time. He literally didn't. It was... But, okay, something I noticed with the songs, though. When the Empire theme comes on, dun, 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 if you notice, if you watch, the next time you watch a movie, if you haven't noticed it yet, the themes, the Force theme, dun, 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 he cuts it off right before he could finish the whole musical phrase. And I keep thinking, why did he do that? And this is my theory, is this is a prequel to A New Hope. In A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, we get the fully formed themes. We get the fully formed characters and the storyline. This was just the introduction. There were little hints of it. So why not have little hints of the theme, the different music that we are about to get in A New Hope in episode 4, 5, and 6. So it kind of makes sense, because if you went full bore into the Imperial March, if he went full bore into the Luke and Leia theme, or the Princess Leia's theme, or the Force theme, then it would feel like this was the movie where everything started, and it wasn't. This movie is just when the rebels are trying to figure it out. So it kind of makes sense, and if I put that into that context, I appreciate it more, and it kind of makes more sense. So, all right. So next. The pacing is almost identical to war movies. I said that already. The more you watch war movies and then go watch Rogue One, the more you'll appreciate Rogue One. And I can't wait for this movie to go on TV and then on TNT. So can you imagine, like, does TNT or somebody have, or Stars, they have the exclusive contract to show the new Star Wars movies? If they can do that and just have Rogue One would be a perfect movie for Veterans Day, I think. So I know it's fictional and it's not, you have the real veterans who fought in real wars and, really died and really got hurt and really got injured. And you have the Star Wars fictional thing. Okay, so that's it for my review of Rogue One, the second viewing. Yeah, I actually like it just a little bit more the second time around. Go figure. So I'd say give it a chance. If you didn't like it the first time, give it a chance. Watch it a second time. Maybe even just wait until it's on home video and watch it over and over again. I think the more I watch this movie over and over again, the more I'm going to like it. Just like I like war movies, Battle of the Bulge especially. I appreciate these movies more just because there's so much detail in them. And the more detail they have, the more you watch them, the more you appreciate the depth of everything that they have to say. So until next time, if you like what I'm doing, please consider donating to Making Biscuits Cat Rescue, makingbiscuits.org. You can find me, Gerardo San Diego, at thedailynight.net, thedailynight with a K.net. So until next time, yeah, it's holidays. So until next time, may the force be with you. Thank you very much. Happy holidays.